Hello, everyone. Babula and I are back with another episode. Yes, another episode. You heard it here first of Astrology Now. And there's lots to talk about. A lot of energy going on at the moment, lots of Pisces energy. And of course, Babula is going to talk about new moon in Pisces. And Babula, I was looking at the image for Pisces, which is the two fish going in opposite directions. And I thought, oh, that's a really interesting analogy, considering we're living in this, and have been for a while, with this Hall of Mirrors world, which in the background, we've had Neptune and Pisces since 2012, I think it is. So, yeah. I've got that out of my system now.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, Cheryl, because I have a lot to say about those two fish.
Yes.
I used to ponder on that a lot myself over the years, and I feel like I understand it a whole lot more now, what that actually represents, So, there's going to be a lot of our conversations going to be about Pisces, even over the next couple of years with Saturn coming into Pisces. And I have been talking about a lot in various workshops and talks I've been given and so on. So, yeah, there's a lot to say about that. It's a very interesting symbol.
Yeah, we'll do. Jabber away. I'm keen to hear about
that. Okay, great. So, to start with, so the new moon's on the 20th. On the 19th, the sun actually leaves Aquarius. Okay, and actually will move into the sign of Pisces. Of course, this happens every year around this time, 19th, 20th, 21st. It can vary year to year. So it's on the 19th. And so that means we come into the Pisces solar period when the sun's moving through Pisces and all the Pisceans are having their birthdays. And then the following day, of course, is the new moon. So the new moon will be at 1 degree. It's exactly 1 degree and 22 minutes. And the exact moment of that new moon, Queensland time, is around 5 p.m. So let's talk Pisces, because just as an aside, just sort of add to that for a moment, many people will already be aware that on the 7th of March, Saturn's going to move into Pisces during the Pisces month. While we're in this Pisces time of the year, Saturn is going to move into Pisces and be there for the coming 3 years. So, and as you said, Neptune's in Pisces for these 14 years and has already been since 2011, 2012. Takes 2 years for it to fully make that transition. So it's a very strong Pisces, Neptune, watery influence that we're now coming into very strongly. So there's a lot to say about that. So Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. That itself is very symbolic and very meaningful. And it represents this process and this need for us to relinquish, to let go of control. I don't mean to let go of control and completely lose your mind and go completely bonkers, although that can happen here.
Yeah.
I mean, to loosen up is a good way to put it. To be more fluid, to be more, Pisces is all about allowing, going with the flow, going with the currents. It's a mutable sign, one of the 4 mutable signs. So it's all in water in movement, constantly moving. And as the last sign, we're relinquishing, we're letting go, we're emptying out, we're clearing space, we're letting go of the old cycle, you could say. This happens every year when the sun goes into Pisces. And so people often feel things like, I'm so tired, I just want to rest. So rest. I can't stand all this clutter around me anymore. Get rid of stuff. Clear your diary, what can you cross off your diary? What can you postpone or cancel or change appointments? Obviously, life goes on and there's commitments and so on, but we do whatever we can to create more space to allow ourselves to rest, to be, to flow, because a lot's going to happen.
Mm.
And if we've got a jam-packed schedule, I've learned the hard way over the years, not to pack my schedule during the Pisces month with too many commitments.
Yeah.
Because I end up just emotionally, physically, mentally exhausted.
Mm. Yeah.
And then we can get sick.
Yeah.
You know, so
Pisces doesn't have a lot of structure, a lot of to hold up.
No,
that. So it's a very diffused energy.
very,
Yeah.
that's right, very diffuse and very open, and it's kind of porous and very fluid and sort of mystical and transparent and all of that. So and it's all feeling. It's a water sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we look at the symbolism of the two fish are always connected by a cord. Even the symbol, you know, those two semicircles represent the two fish. In old symbols that I've seen, you'll actually see two, like, actual very symbolized, stylized fish images. And then the modern symbol is just those two crescent shapes.
Yeah.
With a line through the middle. That's like the cord connecting the two fish. So what does that even represent? The way I see it now is those two fish are the soul sort of making this choice to come down to earth from back there. You know, we could call it home, source, God, whatever, however we understand that, from the universe, the cosmos. And down we come into this 3D realm, into this dense realm of matter on planet Earth. And all the challenges that so that's one fish swimming around here in the density of Earth, and all the challenges and problems and suffering and difficulties and so on, having all these earthly experiences, while this other part of us remains somehow consciously and or unconsciously still connected back here, which is why many people who have strong Pisces influence in their chart often feel this sense of, oh, I just want to go back home, because part of them still feels connected very much to that other realm and experience this world as being quite challenging and difficult, because it's a very sensitive energy.
Yeah.
Very open, feels everything, is sensitive to everything. And, you know, and that's not easy in this dense realm that we live in. You know, it's not a sign that's particularly tough, you could say.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
I agree. Yeah.
yeah. And
I was just thinking, sorry if I interrupt, but I was just thinking, you know, because I know that Pisces rules the feet. And you know, when you have problems finding your footing, and not just in everyday life, but on walking on the planet or being here on Earth, I think that might be one of the indicators that Pisces is having a problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's feeling lost is a very common experience for people who have a lot of Pisces in their chart, or when we're all going through a Piscean period. We can feel a bit lost, dazed and confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, a bit bewildered, overwhelmed. It's all too much. You can feel like a tidal wave of energy, of feelings, of impressions just flooding in and flooding in. It can be overwhelming, exhausting, draining. So there's a need to understand that and to adjust and make allowances for it, and find how each of us individually are going to make our way through that energy and make the most of it. So making the most of it can look like more time for rest, for quiet, for doing things that are nourishing to our soul. Now, that could be anything to do with the arts, just sitting under a tree, meditating, or listening to the birds, sitting on the beach, having a swim, relaxing. You know, always life goes on. We have responsibilities and work and so on, but we make as much space and allowance as we can during this period to just take a break.
Yeah.
Know? If that's available to us. And if the schedule is still full on, then we take even 5 minutes to just go and sit outside and just drop in. Have a good cry.
Yeah.
Pisces.
Yeah.
If you need a cry and haven't had a cry for ages, look, honestly, nothing works like put on a sad movie and lie on the couch with a box of tissues. That'll do the job. Like it can be that basic even.
Oh dear. What if you're a male? What would they do?
Probably go and have a few beers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing, isn't it? Pisces is the main sign that we associate with alcohol, drugs, addiction.
Yeah.
And they are avenues of escape. What's addiction about? It's about, and we're all prone to these things.
Oh yeah.
In various forms and to varying degrees, like looking for an escape from the harsh realities of our life and life itself and this world, this crazy world we live in.
Yeah. Yeah, very much crazy world, that's for sure. I was thinking too that, it's because the Pisces, the symbol reminds me of the yin yang symbol, which I've got back here.
I noticed that.
Yeah, and the light and the dark, but it's both that make us whole. So, there's the mystic, but then there's the person who's addicted to things too.
That's right.
Yeah, and we have both.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. The person lying on the footpath, blood, veins full of heroin, completely gone. Years ago, beautiful young woman sort of came to me. She's no longer with us, so it's a very sad story. Beautiful young woman. She came to me and she admitted that she'd gotten herself addicted to heroin. She just tried it, it's just, my friends were doing it. I just wanted to have a try. And then I had a little bit more. And before she knew it, with no intention of going down that road, but it happened.
Yeah.
And I asked her, what does it give you? She said, it stops the pain.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of compassion for addiction and those things. I understand it. It's an escape from, difficulties, difficult situations, or just, the struggle and the suffering of life.
Yeah.
So, compassion's another theme of Pisces, So there's these two fish. It's a sign of duality.
Yeah.
And I often describe this sign as the agony and the ecstasy of life.
Yeah.
And they kind of are connected. So it's in Pisces that we experience both the agony and the suffering and the struggle, but also potentially those states of bliss and ecstasy and joy and union and oneness. It's both.
Yeah. I find it really interesting to have that duality between the mystical and the addiction, because I've thought about this quite a bit, and I've read about it some years ago, but I've thought about it since, and I think that in all addictions is this longing for the mystical. It's when we're unhappy, we feel empty, where something's missing in our life, we don't know what it is. So we start with the addictions, with the alcohol, with the shopping, with the sex, with the drugs, etc., because we're trying to find that thing that fills our cup. But the real way to do that is to connect with the mystical, the divine, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So that's the real path, isn't it? To find our way back to that connection. And I've heard stories like this, I'm sure you have, of people who've gone down that road of addiction or darkness or feeling completely lost and somehow finding their way out of it, and then dedicating the rest of their life to serving and helping other people. And they're often doing it in the most extraordinary way, but they had to go down to the bottom first themselves. That's often a Pisces journey.
Yeah, down into the Marianas Trench.
Yes.
Deep, deep, dark depths.
Yes, absolutely lost, and doing whatever it takes to just to feel better and to cope.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the end, suffering tremendously from that.
Mm.
So it's complex, it's very, very multi-layered, multi-dimensional, and as you say, mystical. So it's that, like what you said before about looking for that connection back through addictions. I read somewhere years ago this phrase that described it as looking for spirit in a bottle.
Yes. Mm.
The bottle of scotch, we call it spirit, don't we?
Yeah.
It's a spirit. But
Yeah.
actually, because when we're really stressed or de-stressed, a couple of nice glasses of wine or, a few swigs of whiskey or whatever, suddenly everything feels not so bad again.
Yes, yes, yeah. Escaping from the discomfort that you feel.
Exactly.
Mm.
So all of this is part of the Pisces story. So it can be a good time to just make more allowance and more time for connection, whatever that means for anybody, to
Mm.
soul. This is a
Mm.
soulful time.
Mm.
Yeah. So the new moon. So the chart of the new moon it's at 1 degree and 22 minutes of Pisces, when the sun and the moon are together at that degree. And it's, of course, the dark of the moon, those few days when there's no moonlight at night. Saturn is very, very close. I'll just hold
Mm.
this up. See, I've highlighted the sun and the moon together. And literally earlier that day, the moon was coming here through Aquarius and passed across Saturn. So Saturn's very close to this new moon at late Aquarius.
Mm. It's having a conversation with it.
It certainly is, because Saturn is getting ready to leave Aquarius, where he's been
Mm.
nearly 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And so he's definitely a part of this new moon. And, in the couple of days leading up, the sun was in Aquarius, crossing over Saturn, and then the moon came to Saturn. So Saturn's definitely here. So it's interesting, isn't it? That
Oh, yeah.
think of Saturn, the planet of structure and order and discipline, on a Pisces new moon and about to go into Pisces, a
Mm.
sign that's not very structured or ordered or disciplined.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with someone this week, if I may,
Yeah.
and I was likening it to, like Pisces is like being adrift on the ocean and not being able to see anything but water, right? But Saturn says, land ahoy. That's the reality. There is water, but there's also land. And this is not a planet of just water. There is other things as well. So it's like a reality checker, and just trying to present that some how can I say it? Structure for Pisces. That there may be an ocean of water, but it's also bound by land.
Yes, that's a great way to see it. It's like water is contained, isn't it? Like a
Mm.
river is contained by the banks, the ocean is
Yeah.
contained by masses of land.
Yeah.
So as much as Pisces just wants to be completely free form, and it's like water just wants to evaporate and disappear into the universe, actually on planet Earth, there are systems and structures and land and physicality. And, look, it's even, I see this with Pisces, I see it in young Pisces. It can get down to just having difficulty being in the body.
Yes. Yes.
Just absolutely, like for a young, like Pisces baby, you watch them in those first years, and depending on how we look at it, I've recognized this, there can be a struggle with just simply the reality of being here.
Yes. Mm.
Because it wants to go back to where it was just like that,
Yes.
completely free and open,
Yeah.
and not bound by a body.
Yeah. And I find a lot of people like, well, not a lot, but there is a demographic in the UFO community who are like that, who've had close encounters because they don't feel like they should be here on Earth. They feel like that their real home is out there, their family's out there. But guess what? You're on Earth for a reason, and you're not going to float off back up there because there's gravity,
Yeah.
You are here. You came here for a reason.
Yeah, that's right. And the soul, for whatever reason, made this choice to come here at this time. So we might as well get on with it.
Yeah.
But see, there's the two fish again. It's
Yeah.
like that whole paradox. That's the word I was looking for. I think that whole paradox of almost living in two realities at the same time. But I think that's the thing. I think kind of, yes, we are. We're living as a soul, as a being in this realm, in these physical bodies. And can we find, especially now as Saturn's about to come into Pisces for 3 whole years, coming to terms with that reality, with that truth.
Yes.
We are spiritual beings, we are cosmic beings, and here we are as human beings in these bodies on Earth at this very challenging time. And how do we marry, become conscious of, integrate those two realities? Because in my understanding and experience, the mystics of old and currently say in various forms, enlightenment and awakening happens within the body in the midst of our life.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's what Pisces can offer, but it's it's not always an easy process.
No, and it's difficult for people who are sensitive, like Pisceans, because they're always wanting to escape. They've got their bags packed, ready to leave Earth, basically, but they find it difficult and challenging, like you say, to be on the planet. I've lost my train of thought. I was going to go somewhere with that, but anyway,
that's a Pisces moment.
Yeah. True. But they're really trying to escape, and that's another form of escapism, isn't it? Is not wanting to be here on the planet.
That's right. And
I know what I was going to say. That they have the idea, like the whole idea of ascension, right? Yeah. But actually, I think for us to move forward, we have to be fully in our body, and we have to fully incarnate. And those people who want to leave and escape the planet don't actually, have both feet here on planet Earth yet. Yeah,
that's right. And so the feet become really important certainly during this month of Pisces and around this new moon. Like even at the new moon, for those 2 to 3 days while the moon's going through Pisces, be aware of your feet, just put your mind in your feet, get your feet out on the ground, feel your feet, walk barefoot, even on rough surfaces, so you can feel that sensation on the soles of the feet and massage your feet. And I've been saying this to people while Saturn goes into Pisces for 3 years, take care of your feet, people. Become conscious and aware, because it helps to, like you said, to fully incarnate and fully embody.
Yeah.
And that includes all the sensitivity, how to fully be embodied while everything is so sensitive and open.
Yes. It's growing that thick skin, isn't it? Really, in a way.
Yeah, or learning how to be open and at the same time be sort of protected in a way without closing off.
Yes.
It gets really subtle, doesn't it? It gets really subtle.
It does. And I think that just comes with time for people with confidence in themselves and their own, and we all have our own personal spiritual ideas, and we're talking about incarnating and ascension, and with respect to other people won't have those ideas. It's just another Pisces moment. I've just lost my train of thought.
Happens to me all the time.
Well, what is it about when we do these episodes start to imbibe the energy of what we're talking about?
Absolutely. That's exactly right. It's
Yeah.
like that energy just sort of arrives in the space,
We
doesn't
have to
it?
start taking notes while we talk.
That's right. And then later it'll pop in, you'll go, oh,
Yes.
I remember. So yeah, this is but look, just at a basic level, my recommendation from experience is at this time of year, we do what we can, what our life allows us to just take some time out to chill, to do things that are really soul nourishing, like it's not that we don't do stuff, but, bring our focus to what is really relaxing, enjoyable, more spiritually soul oriented activities, whether that's with people or on our own, like go and see a few movies. What does Pisces relate to? Movies, music, film, art, silence, quiet, meditation, anything to do with spirituality, which is a vast, vast, vast topic in itself. So whatever that means to, any individual, to the sea, have more baths, relax in a bath, go to the beach, sit by a river and just sit there for as long as you feel like. Lie down on the riverbank and just drift off, like really use that energy, because we don't always take enough time out for things like that.
Not in the Western world, we don't.
Not in the Western. No.
That's in our thinking, that's a luxury.
That's right.
That's so wrong.
It's so wrong. It's just crazy. And then we pay the price. We get exhausted, stressed, sick. Pisces also governs the immune system.
Yes.
So we become really vulnerable and don't have enough strength to fight off, any psychic energies from other people, bugs or whatever that are in the, going around. We kind of lose that strength and vitality. So we need to, just chill as much as we can. It's also a sign that's got a lot to do with healing. There's a natural healing energy here. So this can be a great time, to book those sessions for healing.
Yeah.
Whether that's, whatever that is, Reiki, massage, spiritual healing, energy healing, those kinds of things.
Sound healing.
It's perfect.
Yes.
Exactly. Soul collage.
Yeah.
I'm running a painting party, and coming together in that beautiful soulful space where we just create and tune in, and we're not dealing with outside stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the new moon. By the way, on the day of the new moon, at the moment of the new moon, around 5 p.m., Venus will be at 29 degrees and 57 minutes of Pisces. So she is just leaving Pisces.
Yeah.
As this new moon occurs at 1 degree in the early part of Pisces. So she will actually, pretty much an hour after the moment of the new moon, she will move into Aries. You get these, it's all multi-layered and complex. So there is a kind of a new energy that will come in with the Venus going to Aries while this new moon is occurring. New moons, of course, are always a new energy anyway. But I love that we're getting this Pisces new moon as a kind of prelude to Saturn coming into Pisces on the...
Yeah. It's like, here's the door.
That's right. That's right. This will get us in the zone, in the mood.
Yeah. Yeah. No need to knock. Come on in.
And of course, most people are probably aware by now, because it's being talked about a lot in the astrological circles, that Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So, that's pretty strong and intense, and we're moving towards March rapidly, which is going to be a massive month,
Yeah.
astrologically speaking. So I'll just finish off with February. On the 22nd, Mercury in the middle of Aquarius will make a square to Uranus in the middle of Taurus. I just want to say something about Uranus at 15 degrees of Taurus. We've spoken often about Uranus going through Taurus, you know, since 2018 for 7 years. And for the last month or two, it's been sitting right in the middle of the sign.
Mm.
And the full moon 2 weeks ago was hugely impacted by these squares from Uranus squaring the full moon. And I think I mentioned the word earthquakes and speaking of it as earthquake energy, and that kind of full moon. It was a super full moon when the moon is really close to the earth, so it has a bigger impact.
Mm.
The moon has a lot to do with earth energies and weather and, you know, earth movement and so on, and that strong connection to Uranus. It's the kind of full moon that can absolutely manifest as a massive earthquake.
Mm.
And it's also an analogy for earthquakes happening in our own life, you know, earthquake energy, big tumultuous changes and upheavals. And of course, that's what happened.
Yes.
You know, just, yeah, about 2 days before the full moon, there was that train derailment in Ohio, which is absolute unmitigated disaster. And then I think it was the day after on the full moon, I think was a huge quake in Turkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is quite real, you know, like, yeah. So we are in strong times, and we're coming into a strong period in March. And, you know, I'm just going to go through and just list, and we'll break all this down as we go through, you know, the next weeks and couple of months. But people always say, what does that mean? Is that good or bad? And, you know, of course, the answer to is that, well, yes, it's all of that.
Yeah. Yes. Depends how you respond to it.
Yeah, and everyone's experience will be unique and particular to them, and in depending on their situation and their chart, and for 100 million things, it'd be a real mixed bag for everyone, and it will look different for everyone. But yeah, big energies.
Before you go on to March,
Yes,
could I
please.
just mention something
Please do.
that I came across, which I knew nothing about? I have to do some more of your astrology classes. But I was reading about Fomalhaut, which is one of the 4 royal stars. And Fomalhaut, I hope I'm saying that right, is the guardian of the southern sky, and it's connected to the return of the light after a period of darkness and finding the light within ourselves. I thought that was fascinating, considering what we've just been through, you know, the last few years. And then we're going into this Piscean time. And I just thought, you know, just been through such a dark time, and now it's about, you know, finding that spiritual, going back to our spiritual nature, spiritual, mystical, dreamy, hopeful, imaginative, you know, a bit utopian, I would guess you would say, you know?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that is definitely the way forward, isn't it? For sure. A vision of a better world, and to actually, it's like, it reminds me of a quote that I've used off and on for years, and I forget who said it, somebody famous, but I forget who it was. And it's something like, it's very Saturn in Pisces to me. It's along the lines of, by all means have dreams, but make sure you put foundations underneath them. Like, have the dream and the vision and the image, But then the Saturn part of Saturn in Pisces, because dreams are very Pisces, is how to bring that into reality and bring it into manifestation to make the dream
Yes.
actual reality, like heaven on earth.
Yes, yes.
Bring it down.
So I was reading that Fomalhaut is active from the February the 21st to the 24th. It seems to be that it is the same time every year. And I thought, well, that's really interesting timing of that.
Okay, so that would be because I'm not an expert on the fixed stars at all. And there's a few that I'm aware of, but it's not something I've made a big study of, but some astrologers have. That must be because every year the sun passes through, so it must be around those degrees of early Pisces. Fixed stars are in a fixed position in the sky.
Right.
So the sun would come through those degrees.
Right. Well, I know nothing. I'm just being the mercurial messenger.
I love it. I love it. And so I'll be looking into that. Anything to do with bringing in more light. Yeah. Bring it on. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that brings us into March, on the 2nd of March. And I think this is worth taking note of. There'll be a conjunction of Venus with Jupiter at 12 degrees of Aries. Now, Venus and Jupiter, two things. They're the two brightest stars in our sky. And they were always traditionally regarded as the benefics, meaning they're the two planets that bring the most positive energy and influence.
Yeah.
When they come together, astrologers get excited and say things like, I'll be buying a lotto ticket.
I was just thinking that. Not that I gamble.
Yeah. So it's, Venus is beauty and the feminine and heart and love and relationship and pleasure and money. She is the money planet. She's the ruler of Taurus. Conjunct Jupiter, the planet of abundance and expansion and positive things. And that conjunction coming together in Aries, it could show up in many ways, but it could be, making new choices and decisions. Aries is always about birthing the new, pushing into the new, stepping into the new, being bold.
Yeah.
So if you never buy a lotto ticket, maybe go and buy one, or do something creative or fun or inspiring that maybe in the past you might have gone, oh no, I'm not going to do that, and suddenly you just go, I'm going to do that, and you have an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So I really love to always point out to people when there's really fabulous things going on in the skies, because then we need to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
So around those first couple of days of March, there is this really, on the 2nd exactly, is this beautiful, and in the sky, I mean, already you can see them, coming closer together because Venus moves more quickly and they're really bright. You can, if you know where to look, you'll see them. I'm trying to remember now whether it's, my head can't go there right now. But anyway, if you know where to look, you'll find Jupiter and Venus quite visibly. It's easy to check it out online to find out where they are. On the 3rd, Mercury is at 29 degrees of Aquarius, conjunct Saturn at 29 degrees of Aquarius. So Saturn's getting ready to leave Aquarius. Mercury leaves Aquarius later that morning. But before it does, of course, it joins up with Saturn. So that's an interesting energy as well. And Mercury's about to go into Pisces. Around 9 o'clock that morning. So that's on the 3rd. So then we'll have the Sun and Mercury in the sign of Pisces. So Mercury in Pisces for 3 weeks. Forgetting things, Cheryl. The mind can easily go out to lunch. But the mind can be extremely intuitive when it's in Pisces. But don't ask it to get too logical and rational and remember details.
Yes. Please don't.
Please don't. Too much, too hard. But wonderful for anything creative, inspired, spiritual, imaginative, intuitive, very, very good. And we might just want to be more quiet. I always think about the 3 water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. The animals that represent them don't have a voice. They don't make a sound, right? All the other animals in the zodiac, they all have a sound that we recognize, but that's why the water signs often are quiet. So, it can be an opportunity for us to just sort of quieten things down a bit.
Yeah.
Then on the 4th, Venus will come to Chiron because Jupiter is getting closer and closer to Chiron and will actually join with Chiron on the 12th of March after the full moon. So there's a lot in all of that. Venus will come to Jupiter first, then Venus will come to Chiron on the 4th, and then Jupiter will come to Chiron on the 12th. So I think I want to talk a lot more about that when we do the full moon one.
Okay.
About Jupiter and Chiron together. That's a very important piece of what's coming up in March. It's one of the big themes. There's a lot of big things happening in March.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sort of being prepared for it in a way, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So we've come into Pisces. Okay, everyone, just tune in, relax,
chill out,
connect to soul, spirit in whatever way that speaks to you. Let go. It's really, I feel like I can't emphasize that enough. It really is a period of letting go. That's one of the great lessons that Pisces teaches us, how to let go. Because we humans like to attach and cling to things and hold on to things, ideas, objects, people, situations, careers, identities.
Yeah, everything.
And Pisces teaches us just to keep letting go, surrendering, emptying out, because when we do that, it creates space, spirit, source, mystery, God, whatever that is for us, to actually show up more and to come in more. Sign of faith, really, and trust. Easy words to speak. Not so easy to live that.
No.
So another thing on the 4th, Venus conjunct Chiron at around 14 degrees of Aries, is that Australia, one of the main goddess asteroids, is actually going to leave Capricorn and move into Aquarius. And I think in the next month or two, I'll probably be talking a bit more about asteroids because a number of them getting really, really active.
Yeah.
And Australia is one that I do pay attention to. She is the goddess of healing and medicine and health. And when she comes into Aquarius, I think where she'll be for a few months, I think that can really highlight and bring to the fore issues around public health, health in the community, in society in general, the bigger collective issues around health and illness and healing and so on. It can also be individually a time when it's good to avail ourselves of more alternative methods of healing. Aquarian
yes
is to do with knowledge, astrology, things like that, but also things like vibration and resonance and energy and sound healing and waves of energy and bioresonance and that, and crystals and that kind of healing energy, and people coming together in groups and circles, your sound healing circles. community, people coming together, and the healing energy is magnified when people come together in those kinds of spaces.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, in the old times of classical Greece, because she's a Greek goddess, she was very, very well known, very revered. There were temples to Hygeia all over the place, and there's still a lot of statues in existence. Her father was the god Asclepius, the god of medicine. They work together in many ways. They're kind of the feminine, masculine counterpoint of each other. He was always seen, and there were temples to them both. All the statues we have of him is that he holds his big staff, you know, that masculine symbol of the staff. And around it is wrapped a great serpent, a symbol of healing and transformation. She has a serpent, but it's wrapped around her body. So she's more the feminine embodiment of this energy. And people would, if they were sick or needed healing, they would go to the temples and do prayers and offerings and perhaps fasting and do certain rituals and make sacrifices and so on. And they go through these stages, and then they'd enter the inner sanctum and often be put into a kind of a sleep-like state, or they would sleep overnight, and the snakes would be released into that inner sanctum, and they would have dreams, and they'd recall their dreams to the priest or the priestess in the morning. And this is all part of the healing process.
Yeah. So, sorry, was this the Temple of Hygeia or Australia?
Hygeia.
Hygeia.
Did I say Australia?
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. That's another asteroid to do with the stars. And
that's what I was thinking. Where does this fit in?
Well, she's another one that we'll be talking about, I think, as we go on. But
okay.
Yeah, so Hygeia, beg your pardon, which is where the word hygiene comes from. So I think that's really interesting to me that she's going into Aquarius.
Yeah.
It's also a sign of revelation, and knowledge and light and truth and freedom. And we were certainly not living in a time of medical freedom of choice.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So this could be, this would be one I'll be watching with great interest. So she moves into Aquarius on the 4th of March as Venus, the goddess of love and the light.
Yeah.
Is conjunct Chiron, the healer.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah. Same day.
So this is on the 4th of March.
Yeah.
As a prelude to Jupiter making its conjunction with Chiron, the healer, the shaman, on the 12th. I mean, already Jupiter is approaching that Chiron, and babies being born now will have this conjunction of Jupiter and Chiron, but the exact conjunction will occur on the 12th. So there's a lot going on, and certainly coming up in March around all issues around health, healing, medicine, wounding. And we will talk, I think, next time a lot about God, there's so much to talk about in the next month or so, about this chironic journey of healing, the healing journey that Chiron what that's pointing to.
Wow, I'm already feeling overwhelmed for this next lunar cycle. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and overwhelm is a really important word in Pisces. Because we get really sensitive and we're open and feeling everything, we can get very easily overwhelmed, which is why spiritual practices, rest, time out is so important, or we just end up in a mess.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really important. As I've said, I've learned the hard way, like every year I make sure that I'm making space for this energy, or or we can just go down.
Yeah.
I feel like we're drowning.
Yes.
I'd rather float or swim with the dolphins, right?
I think my head's already there. I don't know.
I know it's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then on the 7th of March, wow, on the 7th of March, the same day as the full moon,
Mm.
Saturn moves into Pisces. Saturn will be at 0 degrees and 0 minutes of Pisces on the Virgo Pisces full moon on the same day. So that's a doozy.
Yeah.
So I'd be recommending to people on that date and around those few days, as much as possible, create space for yourself. If you do anything, make sure it's something that's very soulful and nourishing and beautiful. If that's possible. You know, like, far be it for me to recommend that people do things like that, but I'd be probably taking a sickie. You know, if I was at a normal job.
Well, you can do that. You work for yourself.
Exactly. As do you. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I've actually crossed out a couple of days in my
Yeah.
time just to give myself, because when we're in this Pisces zone, ideally what we want to be able to do is just follow the feeling and the mood of the moment as much as possible, instead of being too bound by, now I have to do this, now I have to be there, now I have to be with this person, now that's happening. That gets really stressful when there's a lot of this
Yeah.
tuning and energy. It's just all a bit much.
Yeah.
Use that.
Yeah, you just feel like you're going from one fire to the next, trying to put out the bushfires in a way. Yeah.
That's right.
Mm.
So
Ah.
so I'm gonna just finish off by just rattling through all the things that are coming in March, and then we'll kind of unpack all that next time.
Next time, yeah.
We might need a couple of hours.
It might be a super long episode next time.
We'll see how we go. So 7th is Saturn in Pisces and the full moon. On the 12th, Jupiter makes this very important conjunction with Chiron. It also happens to be an exact conjunction with one of my favorite goddess asteroids, and one of the major ones, and this is Vesta.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I'll bring her into the mix. And also on the same day, Venus will be conjunct Eris in Aries. I'm trying to decipher my notes here. On the 21st, we have the autumn equinox. The sun will leave Pisces and go into Aries. On the 22nd of March is the new moon at 0 degrees of Aries, in the middle of all these other energies. The new
Wow.
0 of Aries. And on the 23rd, Ceres, the great mother asteroid goddess, the most important of them all, moves into Virgo. And on the same day, and this is like Pluto moves into Aquarius. And then on the 25th, Mars finally leaves Gemini, where he's been for 7 long months.
Yes.
And moves into Cancer. That's a lot. A lot of big stuff happening. There's no way we can describe all that in a couple of sentences. Like, yeah, it's just a lot. So it's a big month, this month of March, and anyone who follows any astrology will see that astrologers are all talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if you're interested, you just keep, just tune in, listen to people, read stuff to keep sort of getting the feel of it. But in the end, we just have to show up day by day and live it and see what it brings. But a lot's going to move, a lot's going to shift, and it has the potential to really crack a lot of stuff wide open and really shift a lot of energy that's stuck.
And there is a lot of stuck energy.
A lot.
Yes. And like I said, living in a world of the hall of mirrors, it's like, with all that, what was I going to say, with all, oh my goodness. Anyway, but it's just, there's that very Neptunian energy where things are not as they appear. Put it that way.
Yes, exactly.
And that needs to be cracked right open.
Exactly.
Mm.
Because Pisces and Neptune are energy of illusion.
Yep.
Illusion, fantasy, delusion, smoke screens,
Yes. Yeah.
veils of illusion, like parting the veil. And I think that's going to be a big role for Saturn in Pisces, is to pull those veils of illusion so that we get to see what's real.
Yes. Yeah, because it is the reality checker, isn't it?
That's right. And come out of the dream spell. Humanity's in a dream spell.
Yes.
And it's been
Oh,
hypnotized.
yeah. Mm.
So it's going to be a very interesting journey the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, wow, what's it going to be like in 2 years' time? What will have been revealed? What will have been killed off? What will have been, come to an end? What will be born anew?
That's right. What will have broken through,
Yeah.
revealed.
Yeah.
I know it's the most extraordinary time this year, next year, and then into 2025.
We'll just have to check in every 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
see
We'll still be here in 3 years' time.
Gosh, yes.
Breaking all this down.
Yes. Oh, well, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure. I feel a bit overwhelmed.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually feel a bit tired
I know.
from all of that, because I feel a bit overwhelmed by all that energy that we've been talking about.
I mean, I've been looking at it for weeks and months, so I've kind of been aware of all this coming. But what just struck me, folks, is do whatever you do, and if you don't normally do it, maybe learn how to do it. Clean your spaces, like physically keep cleaning things, keep cleaning windows, room spaces, smudging, using all those methods to clean and clear energy. I think that will be really helpful moving forward, using flower essences, shamanic practices, sound healing. All of those things are going to become really important as we move into this new energy, like really important. Cleaning our auras, having water is very cleansing, standing under the shower and just imagining you're in a waterfall in nature, and it's just cleaning our auric field as well as our bodies, clearing every day.
Yeah, I think the best way to clean our auric field is to get this and this right, emanate from the inside out.
Fantastic. Oh, love it.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much again for all that information. And I'm going to go have a nap now.
I was just going to say, why don't you go down and have a little lie down?
While I process. Oh, thanks, Babula. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yes, and viewers, if you enjoyed this episode, please like it. And if you enjoyed it even more than just liking it, please feel free to share it with other astrologically minded friends or people who you think might be interested in this. So about what's coming up. Yeah. So until then, have a great fortnight, and we will see you at the next lunar cycle. Bye for now.